All right.
Okay. Mr. President?
Good morning. It's great to see each and every one of you on this cool February morning, and we're going to turn it over now to our very capable city clerk.
This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Wednesday, February 17th. Please stand for our invocation led by Pastor Gregory West and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you. On behalf of all who are gathered here today, thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the marriage of health. We need to fulfill our callings, for substance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so, from your boundless and gracious nature. In the scriptures you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular for the assembled council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflict and interest and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Mobile. It is in your most blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, President Manzi.
Here.
Vice President Small.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Days.
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Councilmember Gregory. Here. Statement of rules.
Again, good morning to each and every one. In response to national, state, and local guidance due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the Alabama Open Meetings Act and the governor's supplemental emergency proclamation, we are meeting remotely. While we are all in different places, we're able to participate as if we were all gathered together in council chambers at Government Plaza. And in keeping with the requirements of the Alabama Open Meetings Act, the public is still able to observe the meeting through the live stream. All items we will discuss during this particular meeting are either necessary to respond to COVID-19 or necessary to perform essential minimum functions of the city. The public is able to present comment to the council by emailing them to cityclerk@cityofmobile.org. Public comments will be acknowledged, will be disseminated to council members and included in the meeting minutes. As always, the meeting is live streamed and can be viewed through the city's website or on the council's Facebook page. Various speakers will present to the council today. Each of those speakers will be granted 3 minutes to make their presentation. At the conclusion of 2 minutes, a bell will sound indicating that you have 60 seconds to wrap up any and all commentary. Those are the rules for this particular meeting, and we are appreciative of your continued interest in your municipal government. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of February 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? Great job. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody. As I said,
morning.
grateful that Mardi Gras has passed us. I'd really like to begin by thanking all of the organizations, all the Mardi Gras organizations for the cooperation, their input, their buy-in, as well as individuals making sure that we had a safe and healthy Mardi Gras. As you know, since our restaurants and bars were going to be open over the Mardi Gras holiday, we closed some of the streets down yesterday because we were anticipating or thinking there was the potential for more people to come downtown. We were in uncharted territory for all of us. We knew that we needed to do everything that we could to create an environment that would encourage social distancing and stay in compliance with the current health order. I think at the end of the day, we can say that all of that occurred. The peak estimates were 1,700 people downtown when typically we would have 100,000 downtown. Now, on a Friday night, typically an art walk, we may have about 2,000. So we were smaller than what a typical art walk would be. I would like to thank the police officers for their efforts to make sure that everyone was safe yesterday, and giving out masks and distributing, making sure that social distancing was maintained. I'd also like to thank John Peavy and his teams really for two things. One was the threat of black ice and being prepared to handle the black ice, which fortunately we had very, very little of. In fact, I'm not sure if we had any reported incidents of it, but also they made sure that downtown was swept and prepared, and barricades were out before people showed up on Tuesday. And for those that may have seen it on TV or seen it in personal, we had some brand new Mardi Gras garbage cans that actually came in Tuesday morning during the pouring rain at 9 o'clock that morning. And so we scurry in to get them out, but didn't have to really use them. So we'll store them for a huge Mardi Gras celebration for next year. Again, I just want to reiterate my gratitude and thanks for what all the Mardi Gras organizations did to cooperate with us. So thank you very much for that. Don't know if you've picked up on it in the news about, we've had a commercial warehouse fire. It's actually, our firefighters have been fighting it for over 36 hours now. I think it's worthy of noting that every single apparatus that we have has rotated in or out on that site over the last 36 hours. So fire trucks from every single station, as we have had to relieve firefighters and bring new ones in, every single piece of equipment we have, typically you refer to them as fire trucks, but firefighters refer to them as our apparatus, has been there. So the investments that we've made to ensure that we're an ISO 1 city, in my opinion, are paying off. And I want to thank all the firefighters, especially Chief Lamey, for what all they've done to try to make sure that they save that commercial warehouse. And it looks like they will save it because it was full of scrap paper. And thankfully, no one has been hurt in that, but it's just a very difficult fire to fight. I'd like to conclude by talking about our partnership with USA Health. This past Saturday, they were able to provide vaccines for 2,220 people. 2,220 people, for the time that they were open on Saturday. And that started off the very first day, I think they did 150. And that's why you will see some tents that will be on the agenda today. Had we not purchased those tents, we would have never gotten to the 2,200 level. So again, just tremendously grateful for what they're doing to make sure that our community gets vaccinated. I'd also like to say that tomorrow, some of our city employees plus USA Health team will be going into some of our underserved communities to provide vaccines for those who can't make it to the Civic Center. This is a little bit of a pilot program. We're going to see how it works. And if it works well, then it may be something that we continue. But Mr. President, that would include all my remarks at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. President,
I think I heard Vice President Small and then Mr. Richardson.
thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
You had stated in your announcement that you're looking to go in underserved, communities. Would those be announced earlier on where people can have advance notice where to go in that particular community, or be aware, when the city and the USA might be coming into that particular community, and how would y'all choose the communities?
Yes, so I really don't have the answers to all of your questions there. There were several points that you made. One is that we don't want a lot of people who are not in that geographical area to show up and anticipating of getting a shot. We're trying to go into the community and serve those that are there. So being the very first time we're trying this, we're not broadly publishing, the locations where we're going to be, just to see if it works. And if it works, then I think you'll see us roll out a plan that would be, fully communicative of those in the community, so that they would know that that's an option. But right now, we're just trying to feel our way along.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. Morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
I wrote you a letter last week regarding the resurfacing program. A couple of months ago, well, first of all, I have watched the resurfacing program take place in numerous council districts, and I have long awaited for the contractor to get to District 1. Well, a couple of months ago, the contractor made it to District 1. I had 67 streets in Trinity Gardens that was on the list. The contractor went out there and resurfaced those streets. But I had streets in Tobinville, Crichton, and Midtown on the list also. That contractor picked his equipment up and hightailed it out of District 1. Meanwhile, once I allocated funding for these streets, I went on to notify the citizens that funding been allocated for your street to be resurfaced, and as soon as the contractor get to District 1, your street will be resurfaced. In years past, when the contractor got to a council district, they resurfaced all of those streets, and then they moved on to the next district. They resurfaced all of it. This contractor came in, hit, and left. And I've been I wrote you to find out, where is he? When is he coming back? Now, a contractor ought to be able to resurface so many feet per day. They ought to know that. And we've already had these streets surveyed, and we told them how long each one of these streets are. Contractor ought to be able to predict based on how many miles it is in any one district, how long it's going to take him to resurface that district. I want to know, where is the contractor now, and when is this contractor coming back to District 1? I really want to know, why did he leave? I mean, why did he pick all his equipment? They told me it's expensive for the contractor to have to leave from way over here to come way over here. So they keep on. And so when you get to Trinity Gardens, it's nowhere else. I mean, it's nowhere to go. When you're going to Chickasaw, wouldn't have been nothing for him to go down the Stand Road, make a left, and start resurfacing over there where he's supposed to. No, he left the entire district. So I would like for you to look back at the letter that I sent you and see if you can determine where the contractor is and when is he coming back to finish up resurfacing District 1. Is what I want to know.
Yep. Either Colonel DeLapp or Nick Amberger can answer that question for you.
Sure, Councilman. I think Nick's on the line, and he can probably give the specifics, but I believe we answered that one to you in writing several weeks ago, but we'll resend that information on the remaining work and when it'll be done in your district.
Okay, that's where I'm need to know.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. President,
Wait, go ahead, Joel.
Oh, no, go on, Mr. Dave.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir, Mr. Daves.
I would move that the agenda be adopted and that all items listed as essential COVID-19 items be declared as such.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on March 5th in Wildwood Place, on March 27th in Cathedral Square, March 6th, 13th, and the 20th in Bienville Square, and every Tuesday in February and March on Government Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Favor? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Public hearing today is a public hearing to rezone property located at 107 and 111 North Lafayette Street and 106 Providence Street, north side of O'Shea Road, extending to the east side of Providence Street and the west side of North Lafayette Street from B1 and R1 to R1.
Is there anyone present or anyone connected who would like to offer any commentary on this particular public hearing? If not, the public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. We have no one signed for non-agenda items or agenda items. Essential COVID-19 items held over. 27024, ordinance to regulate food trucks.
Move
I'm
to
gonna read
table.
these individually. Okay.
Move to table.
Second.
So properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item table.
57001, amend Chapter 57, Article 2, Division 2 of Mobile City Code to add a new section on food trucks.
Move to table.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
57008, ordinance to amend Chapter 57 of the City Code to add a new code section for food trucks.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Daves.
This matter was before the Finance Committee of the City Council on two separate occasions, where we had a full and fair opportunity for everybody who had an interest in this legislation to speak their minds. We had a number of people address us on it, and this draft of the ordinance fairly reflects the consensus of what we've heard from those affected, and comes with the recommendation of the committee for the council to adopt it.
Thank you, Mr. Daves, and thank you to the members of the Finance Committee for your time and effort on this important subject matter. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think I heard two ayes.
Aye.
Favor?
Aye.
All in opposition? All right, the item passes.
34003, ordinance to amend chapter 34 of the city code to include the real property business privilege acts applicable to lessors of residential buildings and dwellings to the schedule of licenses.
Move delay over 2 weeks.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. It has been requested by certain individuals that this matter be laid over so that there can be an opportunity for another hearing before the Finance Committee on it. And I would like to ask the members of the Finance Committee if we could have that meeting 1 week from today, immediately following the council meeting. That would be February 23rd.
I'm in.
Okay, then
correct.
we'll have our
And
Finance
yesterday,
Committee meeting.
actually, if I make it to be very specific, it is on Tuesday, 6 days from now, instead of 1 week from today. Just
Oh,
so
thank
be
you,
clear.
thank you, Mr. Williams, for making
That's
that
right.
clear. That certainly escaped my attention. Mr. Williams, absolutely correct. 6 days from today, Tuesday, February 23rd, immediately following the council meeting. And Madam Clerk, if you could get that notice out, very much appreciated.
That's great. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is laid over for 2 weeks.
57009, ordinance to amend chapter 57, article 8 of the city code and to add a new article 9, small cell facilities on public rights of way.
Move delay over 1 week.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items laid over 1 week.
64010, ordinance to rezone property located at 1901 Hertel Street from R1 to R3.
So move.
No, not exactly. Modified motion, or we're going to amend the motion to accept the
No,
volunteer
not
vote?
amend it, but approve it based on it.
Well, that's what the motion needs to say. Yeah.
That's during discussion, right?
I would say that we simply make it as part of the motion. Chris doesn't disagree.
Right. It needs to be part of the
Yeah.
motion. CJ.
I would suggest the motion be moved to approve, subject to and contingent on the voluntary conditions agreement signed by the applicant dated February 16th, 2020, or 21, I guess.
Just say,
Okay. Well
Yeah.
said.
we will accept that.
Second.
It's been properly moved. Any discussion?
Yes, President.
Mr. Vice President?
Yeah, I'd like to thank our attorney for coming up, help coming up with this volunteer condition. We know that this particular property has been in the media lately for the last couple of weeks, that there are many interests that's in this particular property. My most interest is for something to happen to that property, because I have many residents have contacted me in the past about illegal activities that's going on behind the school, from people going back there with car shootings, and also homeless people breaking into the school and sleeping inside of there. We know that this property is up for sale. What's before us today is to rezone it for, for some type of complex. And from my understanding, several people that's interested in this property is looking to do some type of residential complex, which is zoning is for. I am going to support this on today because, again, my most important thing is for the safety of the residents that's near Magee School. And what the condition includes is to add a 8-foot fence surrounding the whole property. So no matter who gets the particular property, if it comes back before the council, if this particular person does not get the property, my intention is to make sure that it will be a 8-foot fence around that property for the older residents that's in that community will have their protection from, what's going on inside of the main school. Again, my most important focus is the current residents for their safety and their concerns. With this project that's before us and other projects that I have heard, they all are great. And again, I'm excited that some people are looking to invest into this community, and it's great news for the city of Mobile. And again, I'd like to thank our council for working with the other entities of putting this together. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Any further commentary? Anyone else? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in opposition? The item passes.
64036, ordinance to rezone property located at the east terminus of Blue Ridge Boulevard from R1, R2, and B1 to R1.
Move delay over 1 week.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item is laid over 1 week.
Okay, with no objection to the remaining, I will read those together with the exception of 21111. Okay, 08083, approved purchase order to Deere and Company for 6 John Deere utility vehicles. 08084, approved purchase order to the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association for annual membership. 13085, authorized change order number 2 to the contract of Harris Contracting Services for Rickerby Park grading and drainage improvements. 13086, authorized contract change order number 2 with John G. Walton Construction for Baltimore Street and drainage rehabilitation from Ann Street to I-10 Service Road. 21087, authorized contract with Grant Nichols Construction for construction of Old Shell Road sidewalks from Union Avenue to Highland Avenue. 21088, authorized service contract with TAW Power Systems for emergency generators, preventive maintenance and service, various city facilities. 21089, authorized contract with Gorham Air Conditioning for dehumidifier replacement in the therapy pool room at the Connie Hudson Senior Center. 23090, accept deeds for right-of-way for the McGregor Avenue widening project. 25091, accept a permanent sidewalk easement from USA for 2021 citywide annual sidewalk repair and maintenance. 25092, grant easement to Alabama Power Company for guy wire installation on Ziegler Boulevard. 60108, approved settlement agreement and release of claims. 09110, reallocate monies from District 7 capital projects to Mobile Botanical Gardens.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion
Yes, sir.
on any of those items? Mr. Daves?
Thank you. I would just like to make a comment about 25091, which is the resolution to accept permanent sidewalk easement from the University of South Alabama. This is located on University Boulevard. They're just north and south of the intersection of Old Shell Road and University. This is a City of Mobile project to complete sidewalks from Bitten Spur Road to Old Shell Road. This will allow sidewalks there to hook up with sidewalk projects that were joint projects of the City of Mobile and the Village of Spring Hill on Old Shell Road and Bitten Spur, and will provide a big loop. It's not really a loop, it's more of a triangle along University, Old Shell Road, and Bitten Spur. And I would just like to thank the University of South Alabama for being very easy to work with in terms of getting this easement along really an extended part of University Boulevard where they have property and installations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. Richardson?
I would like to also say that I appreciate the fact that after about 4 years, the sidewalks along O'Shea Road from Union Avenue to Highland Avenue is going to get completed within the next 60 days. What we attempted to do years ago was tie the sidewalks in to the Publix project. We're just a block or so from being there. And hopefully, I can find the funding to extend the sidewalks on down to Florida Street to make the tie-in with the public projects there. But it's been a long time coming. I hope no other council member will have to wait this long for sidewalks, but they're finally coming to District 1. So I want the people in the Crichton and Midtown area to know that the contract is being voted on today to install sidewalks along O'Shea Road. It's going to be on the north side from Union Avenue to Highland Avenue. Union Avenue is where the train trestle is. From the train trestle down to Highland Avenue, almost to Florida Street. So that is going to be big, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Is any person responsible? No, I'll wait on that. Any other commentary? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
21111, authorized management agreement with Mobile Botanical Gardens.
Move to lay over 1 week.
Oh,
Or what do we?
table, because we got a new one, right?
Oh, well, this says management agreement. Last week it was a performance contract. This week it says management agreement. So the management agreement is new. So
They gave us another one.
they did give you one?
It's added under the new.
Is that under new item? That's why we were tabling this one. Do you not want to do?
I didn't hear all of this during pre-conference, so whatever was said, we need to do that.
Okay.
We were gonna table it, Gina.
Oh, okay. And we'll get a new one
Yeah, we.
next week?
Just had it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have it on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess that was a Gina motion and a Joel second, right?
Yes.
Good enough for me?
That will work. But I think I heard 3 ayes. All in favor?
Totally new.
There we go. In opposition? Opposed? Item is tabled.
Essential COVID-19 items in time 64011 through 21125.
Mr. President,
Mr. Daves?
I make a motion for immediate consideration of items 08115, 37-120, 58-121, 60-122, the remainder to lay over 1 week pursuant to council rules.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, 08115, approved purchase order to Blue Rent for tent setup and rental for Civic Center drive-through COVID vac site. That's $43,822.73. 37120, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Cracker Barrel. That's at East I-65 Service Road South.
District
58-121, declare weed noxious. Group 1612. 60-122, approve award of special bonus to the January firefighter of the month, Stephen Pleasure.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? And I just want everyone to know that Cracker Barrel is moving toward this direction at all of their locations, where you can have some beer with your buttermilk biscuits. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Call for public hearings. 41123, call for public hearing to consider the vacation of right-of-way between lots 3 and 4 Westwood Farms re-subdivision, scheduled March 16th. And 41124, call for public hearing to consider a vacation fee for vacation of right-of-way located between lots 3 and 4 Westwood Farms re-subdivision on Halls Mill Road, scheduled March 16th. Proposed amount $5,662.02.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Announcements.
Let's start with the general lady from the 7th District, Ms. Gina Gregory.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mentioned I was not at the pre-conference meeting, and when I was looking at the agenda I had was old, but this one that was printed today, I didn't realize what had happened, and that the management agreement has been added, which is actually a management agreement for the Botanical Gardens. What we had on the agenda last week was a performance contract, and so this is very different. So during this week, city staff and the board of the Botanical Gardens will be talking about this, and hopefully we can, or they all can come to an agreement, something then that the council can vote on next week. In other news, Friendship Missionary Baptist Church has rescheduled their food drive. Hopefully the weather will cooperate for today at 2 o'clock. Friendship Missionary Baptist Church is on Cody Road near the Ziegler intersection. Be checking your social media because the weather is iffy, and if they have to reschedule again, I'm sure they will put the word out. Last week, we had an Administrative Services Committee meeting dealing with the proposal to pull Chapter 64H out of zoning and put it into a brand new ordinance, Chapter 65, dealing with trees. We had a long meeting, a lot of discussion, a lot of input from citizens, as well as some information from the Tree Commission that we are looking at. Chris has put together a side-by-side look at the original Chapter 65 with some changes, as well as some updates from the meeting that we had last week. So if everybody would take a look at that, send Chris any changes you would like to see, any updates, so that we can put together another draft that we can send out to the community, because there is a lot of interest, and we'll determine at that point whether we need to hold another committee meeting or if we can move forward at that point. So again, anything you've got on the tree ordinance Chapter 65 proposal, just send to Chris so that we can get a working draft that we can send out to the community for their input as well. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for your capable leadership of the Administrative Services Committee and all of the very important items were assigned to that committee. To all of our committee chairs, keep up the great work. It's really appreciated. Mr. Richardson from the great 1st District.
All righty. I would like to close out with a little Black history. James Weldon Johnson penned what we call the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. But this last stanza is one that is always moving to me, because I can see myself in this stanza where and it sort of highlight the path that I had to follow. When he says, "Stone in the road we trod, Bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Let me say, on the day that I was born, September 4th, 1939, hope for Fred Richardson was dead before I was born. I wasn't born facing the American dream. I was facing the impossible dream, and I had to fight to get to the American dream. Felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet, with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading a path through the blood of the slaughter, but out from this gloomy past, till we now stand at last, where the white gleam of our dark past is cast. That's the end of the stanza. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Fred Richardson. Mr. John Charles Williams from the 4th District.
Well, first of all, thanks to everyone for allowing discussion this morning during pre-council concerning the ordinance of scheduled license fees, specifically with regard to rental properties. I think that it would be a good thing if the administration, who is presenting and asking for this to be done, to have a comparative document, a red line document, or whatever you they want to present, so that we know exactly what is being changed. And that way we don't get a he said, she said. We'll have a single document that contains the original ordinance and all 4 of the already published and approved amendments in one document, along with a redlined portion to show us what they would like to change. I'm going to give I've tried to say this in a couple of ways, and it's also true in the tree ordinance, which Chris did. I think Chris did. That when we change an ordinance, we need to know exactly what happened. And I'm glad we're slowing down just a little bit, 2 weeks on this chapter 34, because it's already been changed 4 times. And if the administration wants to change it, then the administration needs to make the case. Now, this is different than the food truck ordinance, where we heard the cry from residents and local business owners, and we took on the challenge. That's one option, and then our attorney would have to do the work along with the clerk's office. But when the administration comes to us, while it is ours technically, and I know that's what Fred wants to say, once it's handed to us, it's our business. But if they're the ones who initiate it, and there are questions, and we have things, they're the ones that should. Not Chris has got enough to do with 7 bosses to not to have to take on an administrative request and make it his own. So I don't know if that made sense, but there's 2 types of ordinances. One that we come up with and we have desire and we are pursuing, and then there's ones that the administration pursues. And in this case, both the tree ordinance and this ordinance concerning rental properties, I just would like to ask the administration to provide us the comparative documents so that there is one source for all to see the changes. And once we have that, I'll be prepared to discuss it next week and vote on it the week after. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And we ask that the administration would work to quickly get us that requested documentation so that we can move forward. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to give kudos to all the employees at the sales center off DIP. The seniors down there, even though they're not in the building, they're expressing their gratitude of the, the positive energy that's going on down there. For instance, they invited me out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to go and walk in at Tremere. The council had passed a resolution a couple months ago allowing for expansion in the senior center currently for them to have a exercise room, but because of the pandemic, the seniors had not yet enjoyed those rooms. So now they're just taking it outdoors at Trivia Park, and they walk in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:00 a.m. I am planning on being out this coming Friday, as long as it's not too cold, to walk out there with the seniors at a social distance along with my mask, just to be around, several residents, because again, it's almost been a year since we even had a district-wide meeting. So I'm looking forward to this coming Friday at 9:00 a.m. to walk with the seniors at Tremere Park. And speaking of Tremere Park and the walking trail, I had many calls with people calling me about the walking trail at Tremere, and it is on the list. Tremere Park is going under a 5-year plan to pretty much redo the whole park. I'd like to thank Ms. Shun for really her great leadership and seeing the vision of Tremere Park. And as I had told one resident on last week, that they have not seen nothing yet. Thank you, Mr. President.
Today.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to thank all of our public works department employees and our first responders for what they've done over the last week or so. We were prepared for what the cold weather would bring us. And we were prepared for what might turn up on Mardi Gras Day, even though neither one of those two things posed much of a problem for us. And a lot of times, that goes unnoticed. The only time it goes noticed is really when you're not prepared and something adverse happens. But we had a lot of employees that took a lot of time and effort to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Fortunately, that didn't show up, but that doesn't diminish their efforts on that part. And as far as firefighters go, I would just like to really commend them for the work they have done and continue to do with respect to the warehouse fire. While we were all home nice and warm in our cozy little houses, those men and women have been out there in frigid conditions, fighting a really bad fire for 36 hours now, and they really deserve our highest commendation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Daves. And I would certainly be remiss if I did not echo those sentiments. The fire that they're fighting so heroically is located on Paper Mill Road, a newly resurfaced road. They've been out there over 36 hours, valiantly working to make certain that no hurt, harm, or danger comes not only to that private property, but to those adjoining neighborhoods. And it just really makes me, the sum total of the activities over the last 3 or 4 days, whether it be our first responders who are downtown making certain that there was appropriate masking and social distancing, whether it were our public service workers, our public works department employees who just always do a yeoman's job in cleaning up after the parties, after we celebrate per se, and not just during our celebrations, but year in and year out, even in the midst of this global horrendous pandemic. They have not shirked their responsibilities, been derelict in any respect. And it just leads me to believe that we have one of the finest workforces in the Southeast, in the United States. And I'm appreciative of Mr. John Peavy. I'm appreciative of Colonel DeLapp, of everyone who provides such solid leadership, but most importantly to each and every citizen worker who puts on a uniform and proudly works on behalf of all Mobilians. Job well done, and continue to do a great and outstanding work. I want to invite citizens from across this city to come on downtown. There is a way to be socially distant. There is a way to be mindful and to pay appropriate attention to CDC guidelines and continue to patronize our favorite restaurants and our favorite bars and establishments. It's incumbent upon those business owners to make certain that that environment is conducive. My family and I will go in a restaurant, and if we see a lot of masks around the chin or hanging under the nose, we do a 180 and leave. Nothing will run us quicker out of a restaurant than that and a low food score from the health department. I mean, just a military precision 180 and leave that establishment. And that's what I would advise any person who has any degree of health ailments to do the same thing until we all can get where we can see even more light at the end of the tunnel. We want to salute the health department, USA Health, the city of Mobile, and all of the private practices that have been working to vaccinate our citizens. And I want to encourage those who are on the fence, cross over. That's the only way we will ever continue working toward joining some level of normalcy, is to go and get the vaccine. I've had my first vaccination. I look forward to getting the second one. I did not have one complication. And if they offer me a third one, I'm going to take it. Because I want to return. I miss church. I miss choirs. I miss interacting with our citizens. As our vice president spoke, it's been nearly a year since we've had community meetings. I miss all of that engagement. And we want to get back to it as quickly as we can and as safely as we can. I could spend another 5 minutes talking about all of the progress that's taking place in District 2. On next week, hopefully, we will vote on an item that will get us started working on Texas Street. 7 years ago, besides Ann Street and Baltimore Street, you could not find a rougher ride in Mobile, I dare say, than Texas Street after you leave Broad. It's an embarrassment. But I'm proud as we work with our county commissioner, Mr. Ludgood, this administration, that we're finally moving toward attacking that issue. It's a complete rebuild, and it's going to take some serious resources, and it took time in order to identify those resources, but I'm glad that they've been identified. That pretty well concludes my announcements. Again, job well done to all of our city employees. Keep up the great work. And I'd ask that we would keep them and all of those on the front lines at our various hospitals, in our clinics, in our grocery stores, persons who are making certain that we have food and supplies. Let's keep all of them in our thoughts and our prayers, that they might be spared and that we might walk closer to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Any other commentary or announcements from members of the council?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.